She's a pretty weak-looking woman.
He leads Team 5, the world's leading scientists. Go into space.
When something goes wrong, you are willing to sacrifice yourself
Stay on the ship.
to get a teammate to a supposedly safe location on the Fire. But I didn't expect it. The safe location is predicted.
It's the most dangerous place. My teammates have overcome many difficulties.
Find the base.
That they've built on this strange planet.
However, I did not expect. The base has been destroyed by a mysterious creature, so much so that only rubble remains.
So how does the scientific expedition? They can survive on a strange planet.
And it's full of danger.
Hello everyone.
Today for you review.
I'm going to tell you the story of the Great Planet, where Elon Musk has always wanted to find life.
Fast forward to 2050. Under the rise of modern civilization and the rapid growth of the population
Has caused the Earth to become overloaded.
as oxygen becomes increasingly scarce,
This beautiful planet.
no longer fit for human habitation,
Desire to find a new place.
the scientists have directed eyes on Firestar.
The planet has the most similar environment to Earth.
In the last few decades,
They're constantly launching unmanned ships to Mars.
trying to use modern technology to improve the harsh environment of this planet,
Humans have launched unmanned ships
to break the ice shrinkage,
to on Firestar to stimulate the greenhouse effect on the planet, then proceed to sow the ship.
photosynthetic process of algae.
Has helped increase the amount of oxygen in the air.
After 25 attempts, they've achieved something. But the joy of humanity doesn't last long.
When suddenly,
Algae and oxygen are mysteriously disappearing,
the fire was forced to stop.
while the state of the Earth is becoming increasingly alarming,
To quickly find out the cause, an expedition led by Kate,
including the leading scientists.
sent to the Red Planet.
The whole society has devoted all its resources to this project.
It's the greatest work that mankind has ever done.
The ship is Mach 1 due to its size,
It can't be launched directly from the Earth's surface.
so they went to the space station
It's in high orbit.
and launch in a low-gravity environment.
This journey took 6 months.
Marks the first manned flight to Mars. The hope and future of humanity
It's all on the shoulders.
and her expedition team. The expedition's journey up to the Firestar, including 6 people. It ended up being the pilot and the commander. Dr. Boot is the oldest scientist on the team.
It is also the soul of the team.
Next up is Chip, a bar deputy pilot,
Tom is a mechanical engineer,
responsible for system maintenance.
and then Gil was a scientist on the team.
But in Mark's end,
He's a very proud man,
finally a blonde guy, planetary geologist.
who was added to the expedition at the last minute.
Look general, the relationship between the members is also quite harmonious,
They also brought a robot.
borrowed from the military. This robot uses a nuclear battery.
There's both combat and non-combat mode.
However,
It's currently set to non-combat mode. The robot is equipped with a voice command system.
as long as the engineers give the order, it'll do it right away. For 6 months' journey to the Firestar group, we have to live together in a spaceship.
There are only women on board. The bathroom has only one.
This sometimes led to bad situations of crying and laughing. Once when Kate was in the shower, she didn't close the bathroom door.
I just finished taking a shower and walked out. Tom walked by again.
Right now, completely in a state of no piece of body cover. To ease the embarrassment,
You try to stay calm.
and asked Tom to give me a towel to cover my body. This incident made Kate very impressed with Tom. Since then, they used to chase each other about closing the bathroom door.
Before reaching the finish line, the whole team is free.
In addition to some routine work, the rest of the time, mainly to do what they like.
One day, Kate discovered a room on the train has a higher temperature than normal,
She immediately ran to check.
but did not expect
That skill, and the blonde guy.
are using equipment to cook wine. Kate was crying and laughing when she saw this.
You think it's absurd when they're using people's tax dollars.
To do things like this,
However, in the spirit of having done it, jump in,
Kate also drank the wine they cooked. The whole group sat together.
just to wreck.
We talked about our plans after coming to Mars.
People drink to the point of being drunk, and the clams even start to say things.
He even claimed to take over the fire.
At the same time, she became his queen and gave birth to him. This little party's finally over.
Because of the power of clams. The days of living on a spaceship just go by. They finally waited until the last day
According to the plan, the team will use the lander bay.
to land at the base on Mars. That's the day they're about to set foot on the Red Planet. Landing process.
It's happening in people's stress and anxiety, and as an unwritten rule,
If there is no breakdown, then the director will make sure something goes wrong.
of course, they're experiencing a storm of intense solar radiation. It's made the landing very difficult.
The radiation being passed through the spacecraft with great intensity,
Fortunately, they managed to escape to a safe zone.
so no one gets hurt.
After the radiation storm is over,
The spacecraft was seriously damaged.
system, the ship's dynamics plummeted from normal levels.
and many important functions can't work. Kate immediately made a decision. She asked the rest of the crew to enter the lander bay.
Immediately, however,
Due to the failure of the cabin's autopilot system, someone needs to stay on board to activate the manual launch. Kate volunteered to stay in manual control. Your teammates have expressed their deep respect for you because of the high capacity. You're going to go with the spaceship into the championship space.
in an emotional moment, the whole team went to the landing bay one by one and start the journey to land on Mars.
Just minutes after the lander left,
The damage in Kate's spaceship. It's getting more serious.
gravity correction system malfunctions.
The fuel in the cabin starts to hover.
It's caused a lot of big fires. Kate quickly held the fire extinguisher to put out the fire.
But the fire was raging, so much so that you extinguish one place and the other comes up.
In a 1,000-pound situation hanging here, there's only one way. Activate the oxygen exhaust system.
Pushing all the oxygen and the flame out into the in-space,
The spacecraft is no longer on fire.
and the space becomes quiet. However,
This also causes the amount of oxygen in the vessel to drop. Or Kate doesn't panic, because you're already wearing your spacesuit as the function of oxygen supply.
take advantage of this precious time. Kate urgently repaired the oxygen conditioning system and the artificial gravity system in the ship.
Finally, she's also restored the communication system and can be connected to command centers on Earth.
After knowing the end and the team encountered too many incidents, Command Center on Earth
Order to cancel the mission.
and asked them to return to Earth immediately.
Kate, of course, wants to be back with her team, but now they've left the ship. I used the lander to land on Mars. Kate had to contact everyone.
To ask them to return to the ship immediately.
It's unfortunate.
Since the lander was launched,
Communication between Kate and the expedition has been severed. There was nothing she could do but wait anxiously
I hope my team can fix the communications equipment.
to be able to reconnect. Meanwhile, the lander's in trouble.
According to the plan, it
Would have automatically navigated to a base on Mars.
but in the process of landing,
The system could not find a base.
there's no other way.
The team has to switch to the lander control.
Manual, in hopes of landing accurately in the base area.
But it's not easy. There's a robot on board. But because the surface terrain of SAO Fire is so rugged,
Carrying the robot.
making the control of the lander bay become more difficult,
After the discussion, people decided to sacrifice robots.
and throw it straight out.
Just a few seconds later,
The lander is approaching the surface of Mars. Tom quickly activated the landing system.
wrapped the landing pod in a giant balloon to reduce VA touch, but the system doesn't work. That makes the landing pod roll endlessly on the surface of the planet. The entire team inside the lander is extremely uneasy. After a while rolling on the Firestar,
Final landing bay, it also stops in an empty area.
however, the oldest scientist in the group
Began to show fatigue. It's at an age like. He's also unbearable. The VA blows are beating so hard. Tom took the locator to locate them. But all the equipment is broken.
the backup scientific equipment package is no longer available. This makes the repair and survey.
It's become very difficult. Gil stood next to him non-stop complaining. Suppose there is no equipment. Then even the most basic surveys.
It can't be done either. When Gil and Tom were about to have a big argument, the then scientist was quick to speak out in reconciliation. Help these two young men calm down.
Now the only thing they can do.
Is to use the map to estimate the location of the base on Mars. The team decided to walk there.
But when we all get up and we're ready to go, DR Penn.
The person sitting next to him did not move.
It turns out that the doctor examined his body. It's been discovered that there's been a severe hemorrhage because of the VA hits during the landing. You know you can't go far.
Although the theory is
Planes can go in groups to the base on SAO Fire.
where there's medical equipment to save lives, but with the current situation, at every spacesuit, there's enough oxygen in 7 hours. The doctor understands that if the whole team brings their own,
They'll definitely slow down. There's even a risk that the whole group won't survive. After a thought, Penn decided to stay and accept his fate.
at the insistence of Doctor,
The other four were helpless to agree.
one by one, say goodbye to the pen.
Then continue the journey to the base on Mars.
Right now,
The robot they threw out earlier woke up suddenly.
unfortunately, there was a problem on landing. It's gone into combat mode. This will cause a lot of trouble for the whole team. In the future,
Tom and others continue your journey on the surface of Mars.
they noticed from the devices on hand that,
Just a month ago, this area is still covered in green algae.
but now there's no trace of algae.
The whole group can't help but wonder that large layer of algae has completely disappeared.
Without leaving a trace. However,
It is urgent to get to the base quickly.
they cross a large open land, and from a distance,
I've seen the shape of the SAO Fire base.
think about the large amount of food available at the base,
Drinking water and necessary equipment. People are walking faster,
or Kate's on the spaceship.
are using detection devices to determine the location of a teammate. She found out they didn't land at their intended location. After a search, in the insecurity, I finally found the pen scientist who was dying, and the landing bay was severely damaged.
No more the original shape. What's more surprising?
Found the base on a sea of fire. There are only a few pieces left. On the bare ground, there are only a few pillars.
All the food and equipment in the base.
They're all gone.
Just a moment later,
Tom and his team finally arrive at the base. But their hope was immediately extinguished. To see the desolation of this place,
some members guess that the base was destroyed by heavy storms.
Tom knows that.
Facilities at the base designed to withstand fifth-grade hurricanes, so it's definitely not the storm. Right now,
They don't have time to find out what happened
the first priority is to find oxygen.
because of the amount of air in their spacesuits.
There's just over 10 minutes left. After searching everywhere and finding nothing,
Tom and Clam sat on the ground to accept the fate of dying from lack of oxygen.
meanwhile,
Blunt Guy and Chips together at the edge of the cliff.
just watching and talking about life. Unfortunate words.
Chip touched the pain of Blonde.
In the last minutes of life,
The god angrily pushed the chip down the cliff. Then this young Lucas lied to Tom and Gil.
that the chip was so afraid of asphyxiation.
So I signed out myself first. Tom and Gil, they don't have time to grieve about this.
Because their oxygen is running out. It wasn't long before Gil was the first to run out of oxygen. Your spacesuit is constantly on alert. Must replace oxygen equipment.
But there's nothing I can do. Tom began to have severe hypoxia symptoms.
Feeling of nausea.
Difficulty breathing and writhing on the ground.
In a dying moment, Tom couldn't stand it and opened the oxygen mask. Did not expect that.
He can breathe on the surface of Mars, even though breathing is the same as in the Bellevue Highlands, but that was enough for me to survive. The rest of us also opened the mask, and I'm surprised they survived.
However,
They can't explain this strange phenomenon,
the surface of Mars has no oxygen producing algae.
so why can they breathe like that? But the next pressing issue is recovery of communication equipment.
On the way here,
They've seen on a map an old probe car. It was sent in 1997 to do the job. After completing the task,
the car was left here.
Tom thought,
This probe could have radio equipment to communicate with the spacecraft.
but it's almost dark. So they decided to take a break and leave in the morning.
Night on SAO fire extremely cold.
To keep Tom warm, use a lighter.
Burned the remains at the base. But the big fire caught the robot's attention. And it's been tracking Tom and the others. When the robot came to them, the whole group was thrilled. Tom immediately checked the robot, see if it's broken.
During the test, I discovered the robot's processor shows abnormal signs.
Right now,
Tom's team is missing parts to repair the equipment
so the guy decided to disassemble the robot.
to get usable parts.
However, the robot hears Tom's group trying to destroy him. It automatically triggers a defensive response.
With combat mode activated, the robot immediately knocked out Tom and Lucas and Gil in self-defense. He picked up an iron bar on the ground and crashed it into the robot, but only with this iron rod. It's no different than stainless steel mosquito bites. The robot quickly locks the target is Gil, who attacked him and threw him to the ground. Gil had absolutely no chance of rebelling. After the accurate scan, the robot broke one of Gil's ribs and walked away.
The reason the robot doesn't drop Gil immediately.
It's because it says, I don't fully understand this enemy group.
The robot decided to hurt a person.
To observe groups of words in the dark,
Wait until you find their weakness. They destroy each one in turn.
Tom and Lucas come to help the injured Gil to continue the journey. They finally found the little probe.
After inspection, they discovered that the radio in the car is still working.
People use it to contact Kate on a spaceship. Through the conversation, they told her the whole story.
Kate can't understand.
There's no algae on Mars, but there's oxygen.
However,
The first task now is to save these 3 astronauts. After making contact with the command center on Earth, they came up with a plan.
35 years ago, the Soviet Union once launched a small probe into Mars. If Tom's team can fix the chip,
They can use it to fly on Kate's ship.
and we can all go back to Earth together. But the big problem is,
This little boat is 100 kilometers from Tom's group. They have to get there in 20 hours, because the frog ship doesn't have much fuel.
if you exceed this time,
The spacecraft will not have enough fuel to return safely to Earth. Despite the dire situation, people still don't leave clams who are injured. They kept each other moving, while Lucas was ahead.
not waiting for a team, they keep going until it gets dark. Robots are always watching them from the far side.
Waiting for the right opportunity to attack 3 people and destroy the prey.
I didn't expect a very strong snowstorm to suddenly hit. The whole group can't continue the journey,
They're forced to find shelter.
and went into a nearby cave to escape the storm. Tom got worse news from the end. She told me the small ship they were looking for.
It's a one-seat ship.
This means that the 3 people can't leave the fire at the same time. If Jun wishes, the small boat can hold 2 people.
But certainly can't contain Mark,
This means that one of them will have to stay.
and accept a lonely death on Mars. He'll show a sense of self-sacrifice for his teammates.
I know that with my serious injury.
You've slowed the progress of the team. So Gil decided to stay here and die.
When Tom woke up from his sleep
I found out that Lucas K.I. took everything.
and ran away, Tom and Clarence hurriedly got up to chase. In pursuit, they stumbled across an area of green moss. Even though it feels strange, they don't stop.
Keep chasing the blonde young man. When they found Lucas, he collapsed and died.
So what the hell happened,
The robot is always silently monitoring the group, waiting for an opportunity to strike when a person splits, when the blonde runs away alone. The robot took this opportunity to drop him.
Even when he blinks, Lucas's hand is still gripping the radio. Now, another strange thing happened.
Tom noticed that Lucas had put on his oxygen mask again.
There's no oxygen in the mask.
Curious lovers should use welding lights to open the mask.
Surprise from the crack on the mask.
A lot of little insects coming out.
The ability before death.
Luca put on the mask again, to keep insects from creeping up on my face. These insects will explode when they're on fire.
Under the action of welding lights,
The insects inside Lucas's body
constantly exploding.
create a scene like fireworks on TNT. He knew that his team could not be saved.
Lovers go to the green moss area nearby.
Taking some strange insects and put them in a test tube.
I hope to bring it back to Earth for research. Based on love,
Photo in Firestar.
they deduced that these insects eat everything, including the green algae that humans have dropped on Mars, facilities at the base, and even human remains.
He'll also notice
These insects are capable of producing oxygen. That's why Mars now has a fairly thin amount of oxygen. The guy thinks,
if we bring these insects back to Earth,
maybe they'll help solve the problem.
lack of oxygen on the planet.
When they were ready, they hurried on their way. The blood from Gil's wounds low to the ground.
Has attracted a large number of lab insects.
Try to eat you. In a moment of danger, shell-throwing insect samples that you brought for Tom.
Then light it.
Burn yourself with the insects that are clinging to us. The fire raged.
That even the ends are out in space.
You can also see. So far, Tom is alone. I am trying to get to the small spacecraft.
It's unfortunate. I found a lack of batteries to start the ship.
While the confused guy doesn't know what to do, the robot appeared again. Just for it, Tom immediately thought that the main robot, it's a portable battery that brings power to you. You quickly set the trap. When the robot approaches, Tom immediately backs away. The robot was wrapped tightly in the spacecraft's parachute landing.
He also quickly went to get the battery from the robot. Almost at the same time,
This product activates the self-destruct program. Fortunately, Tom managed to get the battery. He hastily assembled and launched the small spacecraft.
Tom was finally in time to meet the end.
In the mothership in space, then they both started.
It's a 6-month journey back to Earth. There are only 2 people left on the spaceship, Tom. They gradually build a new life.
Enjoy your private world together.